What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode. So, here we are today. Okay, we are in April of 2025, and it's interesting because the amount of progress that we've had in technology since I've graduated high school in 2010 is enormous. It's amazing. Sometimes it's unthinkable. The things that we can do on a cell phone in a matter of 10 minutes, a message that can touch, even if it just touches one person, it has the possibility to touch somebody. That's amazing. It wasn't like that when I graduated of high school in 2010. Text messaging was just becoming a new form of instant communication. Okay, the iPhone 4 was just being released, if not a couple years before that, a couple years after. The idea of what we have today didn't exist. Okay, and that's important because although change does happen slowly, we now live in a generation and a time where change is happening ever quickly and quickly. Okay, especially in the terms of technology, but in the terms of where we are, okay, as a people, okay, the comforts that we have, the way of living that we exceed, okay, the state of our union, the state of our country, okay, it took a while to get here, okay? And it seems that we are dismantling that faster and faster as the days pass. What I want to do here is spread a message, okay? And the message is in particular to the young people of our union, okay? The people who believe that this technological age is or has always been this way. It hasn't. There are generations before you, myself included, that understand that it took a while to get this stuff, and we have to understand it for what it is. Okay. In the normal course of events, okay, in day-to-day living, change happens slowly, especially in a democratic ideology type thing. Okay, whether that is politics or whether that is a democratic institution as such as a union. Okay, in particular, the state of the NALC. Okay, it took years to get some of the protections that carriers have today. Okay, we inherited these protections, these standards of living. Okay, we tend to argue points that did not affect us personally when they were enacted. For example, the reduction in rate when the CCA craft was created. Okay, that was before our time. I mentioned that before. When we joined the Postal Service, we agreed under those terms. That was part of the agreement of our employment. That was a fight for a generation of carriers before us. Okay, that was friend Rolando's administration as president. That was before me joining the Postal Service. That was before a lot of the new leaders that are in the positions that they are today. Okay, but that is the point in where most of us can agree that this union began to concede into Postal Service management, and the union started to gain weaker stances in bargaining. Okay, I think that we can agree on that. I think that we can also agree that for the carriers that were forced this new agreement in 2023, that the union again took a less than advantage point when they accepted the terms of a rejected tentative agreement. Again, I was not in the Postal Service in the beginning of those years. I only joined the Postal Service in 2021. Although it may seem that the union has, and in effect it did, take a position to not bargain in the best fate of the letter carrier, we got to understand that the changes in dismantling the service are happening quicker. Okay, so in return, what that means is that in order to get back to a fighting stance, to get back to a union that fights for its members, it is going to be effectively a slow change. Okay, sometimes in life we have to take 2 steps back in order to move one step forward. And sometimes in life, you have to be willing to get knocked out in order to learn how to fight. Okay. And that's what I want to express to the new generation of carriers. I am with you. I support your cause. I understand that there is a extreme difference in what we make and the cost of what it costs to live in this country. I am with you 100%. However, the issue with taking a stance on just a monetary policy is what happened in arbitration. Okay. And I want you guys to understand that money, as I said way before, you can go back to my videos, money will never be enough. Okay. The social economic policies of our union are not that such we are going to get rich. Okay. You are not going to get rich working for any job for any corporation in this country. That's not how capital works in a capitalist society. If you want to get rich, most likely you will not be an employee. You're going to be an entrepreneur and you're going to be a business owner. However, by taking a social contract working for an employer, you understand that there's a thin line between what is fair and what is adequate, okay? And what is a blatant smack in the face. Okay, as a union exists solely to protect the interests of its members. And that's where the change happens. And I know a lot of young carriers say, oh yeah, you're on the internet and you're spreading a message of hope and optimistic beliefs for a better future, but that's not what we need right now. Right now, I need this. Throughout the course of history, change happens slowly. Okay, change happens when people had enough of the same old thing. Okay, it's more than just putting people in positions that they are not adequately prepared for. Okay, I think that's a big disservice to any democratic institution. Okay, a person, just because they sound good doesn't mean that they know what is best for the job title or position that they hold. Okay, I think change happens at the grassroots. I think change happens with the most important person in that democratic institution. And whether that is politics, that's the local citizen, that's the everyday person, or whether it's a democratic institution like a union, it's the union paying dues member. Change happens at that level. Change happens when people form collective thoughts and ideas to create new policies that affect the same people on a level. So what I mean by that is when we take in consideration what the letter carrier does, who the letter carrier serves, and we understand the letter carrier's day-to-day function and activities, job duties, then letter carriers can fight for letter carriers. Okay, letter carriers are resilient people for the fact that we put aside some of the things that the nation is suffering with today. Okay, it doesn't matter if you're white, black, Pacific Asian, okay, if you're Indian, American Indian, or Native Indian, whether you're gay, whether you're straight, whether you're Christian, whether you're Muslim, okay, it doesn't matter what part of the country you live in. By demonstration of the different YouTube carriers we have JH, which is a black man in the South. Okay, we have Mailman Nick, who is a white man in urban Chicago. You have me, Unconscious, which I am a Latino man in the northern states, northeast part of the country. You have Mailman Saeed. I don't know where he is, but what I'm trying to say is that postal employees come in all shapes and forms. And so when we understand what collectively affects us all, then we can begin to use our voices, just as we did with rejecting the tentative agreement. And heck, sometimes we're not going to win every battle, but we don't give up. We don't say, listen, we didn't get this, so now we quit. Now I'm going to leave. No, now we understand that our voices were heard, if not by the people that we wanted to hear, but by each other. So we know that we have each other's back, and that is the most important thing with change. So as we go into the months and years following, I'm going to be with you guys along the ride. I'm not going anywhere. And this message is for change and hope. Okay, let's stay locked, let's stay loaded, let's stay focused, and let's stay in this journey together. I'm with you guys, and I hope you're with me. And until next time, I'll be here and you'll be there. Peace.